So I've noticed a bit of a trend lately. I don't think it's a recent trend. I think it's a trend that's been happening for a long time, but a lot of my fellow camera nerds also really seem to be into watches as well, and myself included. I have a pretty extensive watch collection. Nothing incredibly fancy, but it sort of got me thinking about the correlation between cameras and watches and what makes a watch collector a camera collector and vice versa. Some of the people I've noticed that I follow online that are camera nerds and also post about their watches are Bellamy from Japan Camera Hunter, Take from BigHeadTaco.com, Matthias Berling. He talks about watches a little. And then there's also Andre from the Negative Positives podcast, who posts a lot about watches on his Instagram channel. And I think Take from Big Head Taco said it best when we were chatting about a watch that he had posted in one of his pictures. It was just sort of off to the side. It was a nice stainless steel chronograph, and I asked him what it was. And it was a Kobold A, I believe, was the watch that he was wearing. And just a nice Swiss mechanical chronograph. I mentioned to him the correlation between people that love cameras and people that love watches, and basically Take said that cameras and watches are mechanical tools that rely on accuracy and timing. They both share those traits as like the key thing that makes them work, and I think that's what draws camera nerds to be watch nerds as well. And if you look at sort of the progression of the technology of cameras and watches, they've sort of grown up alongside each other, from big clocks to wall clocks to pocket watches, and you've got big field cameras, large format cameras, to like brownies, and then a rangefinder style camera. You've gone from hand winding to automatic winding to quartz to full computers on your wrist. And then in cameras, you've gone from fully manual to electronically aided to fully electronic to digital, and now to essentially computers. And even, everybody's smartphone has a camera in it, which is essentially a computer that you carry around in your pocket. But they have very good cameras in them. Let's be honest here. Smartphone cameras are very impressive for what they are. Watchmakers used to make shutters for cameras. Seiko, for example, made leaf shutters and focal plane shutters for Japanese camera manufacturers, and probably non-Japanese camera manufacturers as well. I'm not sure if they still do. I actually don't think that they still do, but that's just another connection between the camera world and the watch world. So in true WFLBC fashion, I'm going to make widely generalized statements comparing watch brands to camera brands here. And then at the end, I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite watches in my collection. Like I said, it's nothing incredibly fancy, but they are my favorites nonetheless. So for me, Seiko 5, which is probably the entry level to mechanical watches for most people, unless you're buying something used or vintage, Seiko 5s are absolutely a fantastic place to start your mechanical watch collection. To me, they equate to Pentax. They're sort of both considered the working man's brands of their respective fields, whether it be watchmaking or camera making. I would equate Orient to Fujifilm. They're slightly higher prestige than the Seiko 5. An Orient is in-house movements also. Nice mechanical watches. Definitely, they sort of are a smaller brand that does their own thing, much like Fujifilm does. Then I would compare Seiko, so like actual Seiko watches, not Seiko 5s. I would equate them with Panasonics. They're very well built. They cost a little more, but you're getting your money's worth out of them. They're still not ridiculously expensive. The value per dollar equation still, I think, works in your favor. And then you move to Grand Seiko. I would equate to Canon and Nikon, or Nikon for all my friends that say it that way that don't live in North America. Basically, Canon and Nikon could, in theory, occupy all three levels of Seiko's watchmaking tiers, because they offer anything from entry level right up to very, very expensive cameras. I would equate Rolex with Leica. I think those sort of make sense together. Obviously, they cost a lot of money, and maybe you're not really sure why they cost that money, but you know that when you pick one up, that it feels quality, and just everything about it is just that little bit extra. The fit and finish is just a few steps above anything you've ever seen in your life. The accuracy, just the way it feels, the way using it makes you feel. Whether that price is justified or not, I'll leave that up to you guys. I don't own a Leica or a Rolex, so that pretty much answers my view on it for you. Swatch. Swatch is still around, and I would equate them with Lomography. They're kind of, well, I think I would equate their products with Lomography. The Swatch Group itself is huge and covers a massive portion of the watch industry in the brands that they own and sell. But as far as the actual Swatch brand goes, I think they're a little quirky, a little weird. You kind of got to be a Swatch person to get it. And I think the same holds true for Lomography. What else do I have here? Casio. Casio, I think I would equate with Olympus. They make some stuff that's pretty nice that maybe doesn't come to mind when you think of a certain type of camera or watch for Casio. But they also make some tough, sort of lower end stuff. Like Olympus's tough point and shoot cameras are very good value for money and very, very tough. And I think some of Casio's dive watches, and I'm actually wearing a Casio right now, a Casio World Time or a Casio Royale if you're a James Bond fan. I think that value for money, you're getting a lot out of a very rugged little package. Okay, so I'm just going to tilt the camera down here really quick and show you guys, get these cameras out of the way. I'm making some other content here as well. Just show you guys a couple of my my favorite watches at the moment. There's going to be quite a few Seikos in here, and I don't think that should be a surprise to anyone who knows me. There's going to be a couple of Casios. There's another Seiko, and just some sort of other oddballs here as well. So over on this side, we've got sort of my current Seiko collection. I've got 3 Seiko 5s. 2 of them are sort of modern lower end Seikos. So this right here, this is an SNK 805. It's a entry-level Seiko 5 bead blasted 7S26 automatic movement. I've got it on an aftermarket leather strap. This guy here, actually this one here, this is one of my favorites. This is a vintage Seiko 5 that I got on eBay, and it's a beautiful, beautiful watch. It's very small, so I don't wear it that much because I do have sort of a larger wrist, but it's just not quite small enough to be uncomfortable, so I can still definitely pull it off, I think. This here, I don't know the reference number for it, but this is a Seiko 5 dive watch. It's got an inner rotating bezel. I don't know if you can see it rotating there. It's very, very cool. And yeah, I like this a lot. And then this is a Seiko SNK 795. It's a sort of a dressier Seiko 5 on a bracelet. That's the original bracelet. It's a little rattly, but I kind of like them that way. I'm actually wearing on my wrist here, it's going to be upside down, but you guys can sort of see it. This is a Casio World Time, so it's got a bunch of time zones. Very nice. Honestly, I think value for money, maybe one of the best watches money can buy. Along with this Casio as well, this is a Casio Duro. So this is a Casio dive watch, 200 meter quartz dive watch. It's actually a very, very beautiful watch for not a lot of money. And if you guys like that sort of Rolex Submariner style, I think a Casio Duro should probably make its way into your collection. I've got a Zodiac Sea Dragon over here. I've had this guy for a while. It's a Swiss-made quartz chronograph. One of my favorite watches. I've got Tissot T-Race that I've had also for a number of years. I had to put a new strap on it because the rubber straps, they're very expensive and they seem to dry out very quickly, so thanks a lot, Tissot. This right here, this is a, we'll call it a Chinese special. I don't remember the brand, but it's got a Miyota automatic movement, so a Japanese automatic movement. It's got sapphire crystals front and back. It's got very high-grade stainless steel case, very pilot watch-esque, a Flieger, I think you could comfortably call that a Flieger. This is an AliExpress special, but it's a great little watch. This is recommended by Jody from Just One More Watch, maybe one of my favorite watch YouTube channels that I'll link below when we're done this video. This is my Swatch System 51. I never wear this watch. It was just sort of a novelty purchase. It's self-winding, the world's first automatic self-winding, fully mechanical watch made by robots, basically. So I think that's it. That's part of my watch collection. I have a bunch more, but these are some of my favorites, plus some weird ones like this System 51 and my smartwatch. But let me know if you guys are camera guys, if you're also watch guys. Let me know what your favorite watches are below. Let me know how you think I did with comparing watch brands with camera brands. That was just completely off the cuff, so yeah, it's kind of all over the place. I think that's it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.